Investors don't just glance at your pitch, they hunt for the heartbeat buried in the first 5 seconds. Imagine standing face to face with someone who holds the keys to your future, the fuel to your vision. For most, that moment feels like a trap. Every second stretches, every word weighs a ton. But here's the brutal truth. Top investors decide faster than a blink, before you even say a word, before you even breathe your first sentence. You might feel like there's no chance to break through. The rules seem stacked against you, the deck unfair. Maybe you've been told you need to have the perfect slide deck, the crustiest numbers, the flashiest tech. But that's a lie. What they really see in those first 5 seconds is not your data, not your logo. It's your presence, your story, your power. They sense instantly if you believe in what you're building. The fire or the flicker, the truth or the act. What kills momentum isn't lack of planning. It's the failure to connect. To show you're not just selling, but living this dream. Every minute you hesitate, you lose authenticity. Investors sniff out hesitation like sharks smell blood. They need assurance that the founder in front of them is ready to bleed for this, suffer for this, rise for this. Ask yourself, when you step into that room, what's the real story you're telling? Are you just another voice rehearsing lines, or a living, breathing force that shakes the ground? The very best know your challenge, not just the market or the tech, but your fear, your doubt, your battle with rejection. They know because they've lived it too. They look not just for talent, but for grit, for raw, stubborn refusal to quit. How can you show that in 5 seconds? Not with buzzwords or flashy slides, but with presence. Your eyes, your energy, your passion. The moment your pitch starts, you are either a tidal wave or a ripple. Investors don't want polished, they want real. They want to feel you before they can bet on you. What makes your heart beat faster when others would fold? Start with a lightning strike, something so honest it cuts through the noise. Don't waste words explaining your idea. Tell them why you can't not work on this every single second. Your story is your weapon, sharper and heavier than any spreadsheet. Show them you've carried this burden alone, and you're still standing, ready to crush the impossible. Most founders think investors want answers. But what they crave is a spark that promises questions that reshape answers. Investors prize those who challenge the normal, not just those who fit neatly into the expected. They don't just fund what exists, they fund what's about to change everything. If your pitch feels like a safe, predictable script, you lose before you start. Then, there's the truth about presence, how wildly underestimated it is. It's in the way you hold yourself, that subtle command silently screaming, I am the leader this idea needs. Not arrogance, but unshakable certainty. In those first 5 seconds, your posture, your voice tone, your face deliver more truth than any slideshow could. Can you make them feel your fire before you open your mouth? But presence alone won't cut it if you don't have a hook that halts them instantly. Something unexpected that breaks their pattern. Maybe it's a question that rattles their assumptions, a bold claim backed by conviction, a touch of raw emotion that hits their gut like a punch. Not a gimmick, but a real glimpse into the tribal fight behind your vision. Investors might sit behind million-dollar portfolios, but they invest in the battles that ignite them. The stories that burn down the usual nonsense and leave only truth. Here's the secret most miss. Investors want trust, but trust born from vulnerability and clarity. They feel it when founders dare to be imperfect and real. When you admit the odds, the scars, the sleepless nights, not as a weakness, but as proof that you own the fight. Scarcest power of all in the startup world today isn't money or tech. It's brutal, transparent trust. Without it, your pitch is just noise. How do you build that fast? By dropping your guard, for just a moment, right there in the first heartbeat. Don't sell a fantasy. State the struggle, and why you won't stop until the world bends to your vision. That's magnetic. That's unforgettable. Top investors see through the surface, the flashy slides, the rehearsed speeches, the clever jargon, and search instead for alignment. Your values, your fire, your mission matching their willingness to risk everything. Alignment happens when you're not trying to please but to connect. To find the rare few, out of the noise, who burn like you do. And it's not just about what you say, it's what you don't say. Investors can spot desperation or arrogance a mile away. They value founders who know what matters and ruthlessly cut everything else. Speak directly to the core of the problem you solve, then pierce into how uniquely equipped you are to solve it. Be brief, be bold, be direct. Hesitation kills momentum. Clarity commands it. Remember, your first 5 seconds aren't just about you. They're about the world you're ready to create. Investors don't just invest in products. They invest in futures, in revolutions. Show them that your vision isn't a play for safety, but a blaze through the darkness. That your mission will shake not just markets, but the old, tired rules that hold others frozen. That you see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and you refuse to back down. Most founders dread this moment, but it is your greatest chance to disrupt not just the investors' thoughts, but their entire perception. Your power is in the way you bend reality, to make what seems impossible inevitable. The question isn't if you have an idea worth funding. The question is, can you be the force that carries it through the fire? Can you show that before a single question is asked? Every fraction of a second counts. The investor's gaze is a test. Can you stand firm under it? Can you radiate confidence in the chaos? Can you show them that you've escaped the mediocre crowd? That you are not waiting for permission? That you are already a stranger to comfort and compromise? They want the stories that refuse to be tamed. The stories that burn with a purpose so fierce it lights the way through darkness. This is not about ticking boxes. Investors don't love checklists. They love warriors who look in the face of uncertainty and smile, who know that the system is broken, but they carry the hammer to build something better. The founders who thrive are not the ones who blend in. They are the ones who break in and wreck the old world to create the new. So, how do you harness that power right from second one? Start by owning one undeniable truth. You are not asking for approval. You are commanding partnership. Your pitch is not a plea. It's a summon to join a cause bigger than money. A revolution that demands courage, stamina, and relentless belief. Picture this. You take a breath, look into their eyes, and instead of launching into numbers, you ignite a moment so electric no one can look away. A statement charged with raw honesty. A single sentence that lights the fuse for everything to come. Because in those first 5 seconds, you don't just want to be heard, you want to be felt. To make your mission a living pulse beating in their veins. Founders, investors, leaders, this moment defines everything. It's the line between becoming just another forgotten pitch and becoming a spark that ignites a firestorm. The secret is not hidden. It's buried inside you, waiting to be unleashed. The world does not need another safe bet. It needs the few who dare to stand tall, who refuse to bow, who know that their greatest power lies in total sovereignty of will. When the clock hits 5 seconds, that's when the world leans in or turns away. That's when your future either explodes or evaporates. So, get ready not to pitch an idea, but to unveil a force. Be the founder who breaks reality, the investor who recognizes rare fire, the leader who lights the path because you will not be powerless or quiet anymore. This is brutal but simple. The investor's first 5 seconds are a battlefield where your presence, your story, your spirit fight to survive. They aren't looking for perfect. They're looking for unstoppable. Not for nice, but for necessary. Not for usual, but for exceptional. If you crave to be one of the few who are not swallowed by the noise, you have to reject mediocrity with every fiber of your being. Burn down the rulebook built for the comfortable, and carve your own path with raw, relentless clarity. Because the moment you stop caring about fitting in, that's when you start becoming unstoppable. Investors want the truth that can't be rehearsed, the kind that bursts through nerves and scripts and shines brighter than the stage lights. Give it to them. Own it. Demand their attention like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Raise your voice. Light your fire. Change the game before the clock strikes 5. The future belongs to those who don't wait for permission, but create it in the very moment when the world decides if they matter or if they're just background noise. If the world feels broken, if the system feels frozen, your first 5 seconds say, I am here to burn it all down and build something more. I am ready. Are you? And trust this. Those who see that fire, They don't just invest, they unleash.